The hospital smelled like rain and regret that morning. The sound of distant monitors blended with the rhythmic hum of the air conditioner. A sterile symphony of endings. I stood by the doorway staring at her through the glass. Her body looked small under the white sheets, fragile, almost weightless. But her eyes, those same hazel eyes that once laughed in the sunlight, still carried the same storm that once drew me in. When she saw me, she smiled faintly, as if she had been expecting me all along. I took a step inside, my throat dry, my heart unsure how to beat. Her voice was weak but steady when she spoke. "You always find me too late." She touched my arm gently, the same way she used to, a soft, familiar touch that carried years of unspoken memories. Before we go deeper into this story, if you believe in second chances, in love that never fades even through time and distance, then please like this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Whispers of Kinness, where every story reminds us that love always finds a way. Her name was Elara. We met 12 years ago, back when life was simpler, and we thought time was infinite. She was the kind of woman who could make a dying flower bloom just by smiling at it. I met her on a rainy afternoon in college. She was sketching people in the park, her sketchpad resting on her knees. I had just failed another test and was walking aimlessly, but something about her presence made me stop. She looked up and smiled as if she had been waiting for me to appear in her frame. "You have sad eyes," she said, her pencil never stopping. I laughed awkwardly. "That's one way to start a conversation." "I don't start conversations," she replied. "I start stories." And that was exactly what we became, a story. For months we were inseparable. Coffee shops, late-night walks, endless talks about dreams, fears, and the stars. She taught me how to see the world through colors and emotions, how silence could speak louder than words. She was fire and poetry, and I was just trying to learn how not to burn. But life has a way of testing love when it's still learning to stand. I got a job offer in another city, a dream I had worked for years to reach. I promised I'd come back soon, that nothing would change. She smiled then, her eyes glimmering with something I didn't yet understand. "You always chase tomorrows?" she said quietly. "I just hope you don't lose today while doing it." I didn't know it then, but that was the first time I found her too late. 2 years passed. Calls turned into texts and texts turned into silence. I built a life, or something that looked like one. A career, an apartment with clean white walls, but no laughter. I saw her sometimes through social media, smiling in group photos, painting exhibitions, always surrounded by color. And yet something in her eyes looked distant, like she was smiling for everyone except herself. I tried to reach out once to ask how she was, but the words felt foreign. "How are you?" was too small for everything that had gone unsaid. I told myself we had simply drifted apart. That's what adults do, right? But in truth, I had drifted away from the only person who ever saw me clearly. Then, one evening, I got a call from an unknown number. It was her sister. Her voice trembled as she told me Elara was in the hospital, cancer. Late stage. She had been fighting it quietly for a year, never telling anyone until her strength began to fade. I dropped everything and drove through the night. The road blurred under the rain, my hands gripping the wheel like holding on to time itself. Every second felt heavier than the last. I kept remembering her words, "You chase tomorrows," and for the first time I understood what she meant. When I arrived, she was sitting by the window, watching the rain slide down the glass. She turned her head slowly, her smile soft, like she had been waiting. "You came," she whispered. "I'm sorry," I said. It was all I could say. She reached out and touched my arm, her skin cold but familiar. "You always find me too late." I wanted to tell her she was wrong, that I was here now, but her eyes said what her lips didn't. That no was all we had left. For the next few weeks, I stayed by her side. We didn't talk about the past or the pain. Instead, we remembered. The park where we met. The time she painted my face with coffee when I refused to smile. The night we watched the meteor shower and she wished for nothing but more time. One afternoon, she asked me to take her outside. The nurses hesitated, but I insisted. I wheeled her to the hospital garden where the sun was setting, painting the sky with gold and crimson, her favorite colors. "Do you know why I paint sunsets?" she asked softly. "Because they're beautiful," she smiled. "Because they're proof that endings can still be beautiful." I swallowed hard, my chest tightening. She looked at me and said, "Promise me something." "Anything." Don't wait for life to remind you what matters. Don't find your heart too late again. Her voice cracked, and a tear slipped down her cheek. I held her hand, and for a moment, it felt like time itself paused just for us. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like this video, comment your favorite part, and subscribe to Whispers of Kinness. Every gesture helps us spread stories that heal hearts and remind people of what truly matters. A week later, I returned to the hospital early in the morning with her favorite sketchbook and a bouquet of lilies. Her room was quiet, too quiet. The nurse looked at me with gentle eyes. "She passed peacefully last night," she said. My knees buckled, and the world fell silent. On her bedside table lay her sketchbook, open to her final drawing. It was me, standing under a sunset, looking at a horizon she could no longer reach. At the bottom, she had written, "For him. The one who always found me too late, but never stopped searching." I broke then, but it wasn't the kind of breaking that destroys you. It was the kind that wakes you up. I realized love doesn't vanish with time. It lingers in the small places we forget to look. In the rain, in the colors of a fading sky, in the quiet touch of a memory that refuses to fade. From that day on, I started painting again, not because I wanted to be like her, but because I wanted to keep her alive in every shade of color I could find. I began volunteering at hospitals, helping patients paint sunsets from their windows. And every time I held a brush, I whispered to her, "Not too late this time, Elara. Not too late."